Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Phoenix. I am a chess expert and a chess coach, and I'm about to take you on a tour of a land I have never been to. We are talking about, of course, Puzzle Rush, puzzles over 3,000. If you've been following along in this series, you know that we just set personal best, highest puzzles ever, 3,100 solved at the end of the last run. We are at 57 correct puzzles. I'm going to walk you through this as far as I can get it. We are going to go step by step through the next puzzle until we can get our third red X. We already have two. One more, and this run is finished. So hopefully we can get at least a few right. I want to try to get to 60. Let's see if we can do that. And then, if I'm not able to, what do you say we just do a speed run, huh? Okay. Counting material, I see that black has 3 pawns and white has only 2. So, not good. We're down a pawn, and we're probably losing any endgame. The king appears to be in some danger. We have a rook about to come behind, and then we're going to go pop out of this little exit hole right here. So, not tragic for us quite yet, but we could still get in trouble with something like this. So let's look at the other side of the board. We have a rook holding a line against the king, and we can almost checkmate. If I could somehow teleport a rook like here, we would have almost a mate. We would force black to block us with a rook, but then we have a tactic which we have practiced before. Do you remember what it is? When a king holds a piece that we're attacking one time, how do we try to win it? A special kind of deflection called checking off. We check the king off of the piece it's guarding. And so we would go bishop check, and the king would be forced to move. Now, this rook holds that bishop. So, normally, in the normal way we do that tactic is we let the king just take the bishop, and then we take the rook, just like that. However, it's protected by this rook. So, the bishop actually lives. So what would end up happening if we could somehow teleport the rook around like this, then summon some water through magic, cameras, smoke, and mirrors. It is important before starting any recording that you have the appropriate hydration available, or you will soon not be able to speak. But can we still play chess? Let's see. Back to what I was talking about. If we can teleport a rook, we have mate. Why? We'd go check here and then take the rook and its mate. So we need to figure out how to make that happen. Now, one of the things that's confusing me about this is what's the difference? Normally, I would just want to go like here and then down, or here and then this way, and that's mate. And I don't know why I can't just do that. So there must be some method by which black stops me. And the thing is, the rooks are discoordinated. So if I were to go like here, neither rook can come to the file attempting to guard that square, because I would just take it. Whichever rook it is, I would just take it. But the same thing happens on the A file. Free rook. So there must be a difference between these two squares. And as a little puzzle hack, this doesn't work in a real game, but as a puzzle hack, you can just simply assume that both are incorrect. If there's no difference between them, then none of those can be correct. I'm not going to hang my hat on that quite yet, but it is a hint. So there is the possibility of just running a king up here and then just mating with this rook. We just really need to control this one square. The other two are already controlled. So it's not like we need to do a whole lot of work. If I go here, the rook check does nothing because I can just go up. And now there aren't any more checks. Right? Because this square is covered. I mean, he could throw away a rook, but we take it. So who cares? So that's not right. So we have to figure out a way that we can target things. And the other thing is both of these are targets and the king is always a target. The rooks are targets because they're undefended. So if we could just attack them with tempo, we would win them. And I vaguely see an opportunity to do that with something like a bishop here, because it threatens this check, forcing the king onto one of these two squares. And then I think we can try to maybe hook around. So there's a type of mate where you force a king to go this way, and then you attempt to come in the back like this with a rook. So something like check, king, rook here. And for whatever reason particular to that puzzle, the king cannot go backward again. And then you mate them like this. So there's that opportunity too. I think this is a puzzle where we just find the right way to access the back rank. So the one other issue I'm finding is that this pawn can push, and then this square is controlled here. So let's just do the most obvious thing first and see if it works or not. That would be check. And so the king has only one legal move, which is a good sign that something is going right in your position. So here. Now, this rook has to hold the bishop. So it doesn't seem like that should be the right answer, but we still have to try it. So here, here, and then other rook check. And there are 3 legal moves. We know that this one fails because of the skewer. But the most obvious thing would be just take the bishop. So check, king, check with the other rook, take the bishop. And then I'm not seeing a whole lot of follow-up there. I see another check, but now there are 4 legal moves, 2 of which are bad. We know why, because of the skewer. So now we have these 2 moves. So there's a finding. Okay, so we found another way to mate. Here, here, check, take my bishop, rook in the back checks. These 2 lose to a skewer. And then white, I think, would be winning, but it's very close, and I'm not technically sure that that's a win. But if black goes this way, we bring the other rook over, and that's mate. We'd have 2 rooks here and here against a king right here. We would have the good guys on g8 and h7, and then we would have the king on h5. So that would be checkmate. But that's unnecessary for our opponent to just let us checkmate them. They don't have to let us do that. So the alternative wouldn't be to go to h5, it'd go to h6. And now do we have anything where we can try to force the issue? We can always like go back and forth with our rook. But that's not really leading to a whole lot here. I'm really trying to make the skewer something valuable. And I'm not quite seeing how we would do that. So maybe we do try our alternative method and we try to get to the back rank. So what if I did just go like right here? What is the defense to that? King going either direction doesn't matter. I would check, the rook would come back, and we already saw we could, in that case, we could just take it, right? King goes here, rook goes here, we just take that. Any other move by a rook doesn't matter because we could just take it, or we could take the other rook, depending on which rook it is. And this pawn push doesn't matter either because we could check, bishop comes back, we just take that with the A rook. So that would also be mate. But there has to be a reason there's a bishop here. And it may just be this, and then, like I said, when the rook comes back, we check and then take it. So that actually is the defense early here. And then don't wait to be checked. Just drop the rook right back right now. Then it becomes tougher because there aren't any good checks. This check and then king in the corner, and it doesn't seem to do anything. So is there a method by which I can interfere with the rook? I'm not seeing one. This, take it, and I don't have time to go to the back. So I think if we go here, take it, check, king over, again, king is safe. So it looks like that's the defense. Come back early. Here first, and then the rook just comes back, and there's not a follow-up, I don't think. Not that I see. There is a line I do have to work out. Here, 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 giving up the bishop to the rook. Rook takes it. But now, can we check the king? Check. And the king can hide this way, but so I don't see how that's advancing the game. We still have another check here, but now the king comes out here, and there's no better choice than just to check, and he goes back again. That doesn't seem like a solution either. So I don't think either of these are correct for the same reason. It's just the king goes to the back. So how can we get a rook? How can we teleport a rook to here? Because if we could teleport a rook there, we have a back rank mate, which would be very nice. Check, and this would be mate if there were a rook here. So that's another idea. I like the first idea of the checks and check, 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 check. But maybe we can improve it. What if we go check here first? Now there's only two legal moves, here and here. And if check, king in the corner, I can go rook here. I can go rook there, and the threat is mate. So, again, the rook would have to come back. And then we would go where? How do we add firepower to that? Because we can't use this. This rook is busy guarding the bishop. Guarding that bishop. So that doesn't work. Let me think this through for another moment. So what if... Okay, so we're going to do this line again. Check here, check here. One thing I noticed is that if the king were to be here, sorry, somewhere around here, depending on where the pieces are, or even like here. Okay, let's suppose this bishop is dead and the king were right here. Right, we have almost a checkmate with playing a rook like down the file here. It's almost mate, right? You can imagine that. Because we have what I call a capper. It's like a lid, like the king can't come back out. And then we'd have a rook checking down. And then we have these two powerful squares covered by pieces. So the only one left would be this. And I'm wondering if I can make something work with that. And I don't think that I can. So another idea would be, what if I tried... Oh, I think I have... No, I don't have it. Oh, I thought I did. Okay. I was thinking, what if I, instead of moving this rook around, what if I played this rook to here, and then I just clear the path? There's two defenses to that, though, I think. One's here, like this. So the rook just comes back, and then I was hoping I could teleport a rook right here, but I can't. So what if I go here, and the rook comes back? Do I have anything better than that? I can't really move the bishop because it's protecting a rook. So that seems problematic, I would think. If I went rook over, then the rook came back, I could try to come up this way, and now I'm meeting on this square. And I don't know if that can be stopped in any manner. Well, the king can't move, and the rook can't move out of the way either. So the bishop is unable to come back and block, which may be the reason there's a pawn here. So what I'm looking at is rook h7, rook f8, rook, other rook, rook b to b7, threatening rook g7, which would be checkmate. So then let's say that rook left again, went somewhere else. Then we still don't have a mate. Because this check, king over, and then I want to play either rook to the back rank, but I can't because both of these squares are unprotected. Gosh, this is a tough one, everybody. This is certainly a tough one here. Okay. Rook, 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 rook back again in order to free the back rank. Rook b check, king f8. Then what if I did that trick I told you earlier about trying to come around? What if this rook just shoots away somewhere over here? And now what I have is two rooks here and here, while the black rook is somewhere like, not there, somewhere on the file, something like this. And then that rook would have to go back again. And then we could come back and mate. That seems like a very long line that just seems wrong. Rook, 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 rook. King here. And then shoot away. And you can't touch my bishop because checkmate. And the whole idea there was to chase the king to the very square where the rook would interfere on the back rank. So if this king is here, the rook cannot be. So I'm saying that when we double check here and we drive the king to this square on f8, when we shoot away, the rook cannot come back to it. And so the rook wouldn't be able to interfere in any way. Right? Because that's forced mate, isn't it? But this rook is protected. So if the king goes here or here, it doesn't matter. That's still mate. That feels so wrong, but feels so right. Know what I mean? Okay. Rook. What if just like, we already know that it's mate if we, that's the threat. Rook h7 is we're threatening mate, right? So trying to figure out if there's any other escape method here. We go here. So this pawn could push. I saw that earlier, and actually that is a better defense, but then I think we still go up. And then we are still threatening the same thing. Or maybe we just change lines. Rook, pawn. I thought it was going to be the same thing. But it may not be. It may be, well, let's try it. Always be calculating. That's how you do these things. You don't just say like, maybe, I don't know. No, you just calculate it. Moves on the board are very expensive. Moves in your mind are free. So you should be using a lot of moves in your mind and very few on the board. Then here. So then where? The threat is check here. And then somewhere far away. Yeah, probably this way. I'm getting close. I can tell I'm getting close to solving this thing. I think. Because I don't think I have any other really good choices here. So okay, so we're working on this. Just looks, I can't figure out the solution here. I think I figured it out if rook f8. I think it's just rook b7. Okay. So let's just try. Okay. Rook pawn. What if I come in on a different file? Ah, okay, so that still doesn't work because now both of them are there, and then the bishop can always guard the check. Oh, okay, so that actually just works. Like here is the only one to stop bishop from coming here, but then we block the check. And if you ever go to the second rank, I think I'm thinking about this all wrong. That's why it would have to be this square. Okay, I still don't have the mate though. Because then again, the rook can just like go away, right? Rook can just like go here or back to where it was, and then there's still no mate because of the hole here. Because anytime you come check on the back rank, the rook just comes back. And if you aren't on that rank, then the rook just goes away. All right, I think I'm thinking about this wrong. Let's just try the other check that we looked at earlier. Let's just go this way. And yeah, the only legal move is this, but then like, how do I get the rooks to go like this without anybody moving? Okay, so we have to hold the bishop or we have to come around. But if we could come around, then we wouldn't have to check in the first place. So check. And then what? King goes to the corner. And then what if we hold the bishop with... So we still have the two techniques, right? We can teleport the rook around, and this one can be the one to give mate. Or we can move this rook out of the way, and he'll hold the second rank while the other rook tries to go to the back. But like this idea makes me believe that this is not the mate square. So check here, and like we're so close. We could just teleport a rook to like right here and be mate. Right? Or any of these squares. Oh, what if we... Okay. The point of the check is actually not to shrink the king's space, but to knock him away from the coverage of the F square. That's it. So, okay, what if then we use him as a base since he can't go to the back because of this move? So check here. Let's go around the bishop to here. Rook. We already did this, right? We already did this puzzle. Okay, well, moving the bishop is an improvement for multiple reasons. It's an improvement because it gets the rook, it gets out of the way of the rook, and it removes the defender of the f8 square. So I don't quite see it, but I feel like this is the strongest candidate. So I think we're probably going to go play the check, push the king, probably come to one of these two squares. Oh, this is a cool one. Because then we go check. Well, we can pull the bishop back and block the file, and then check, and then... it doesn't work. Okay. All right. I think we're just going to play. We're going to cross our fingers. There's a 3100 level puzzle. I have two X's. Is this the right answer? I don't know. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm scared. I don't want to ruin what we have here, everybody. Should I do it? What do you think? It pushes the king away from f8. It shrinks him in the box. If we can just get somebody to the back rank, it's mate. This rook won't be able to come back because then we can just take it with whatever rook we got there. We're doing it. Oh. Okay, I'm definitely going to have to look at why that's... Why is that? What, how do I beat it if it's king h8? It looks like this is just simple, right? Isn't that just kind of easy now? Okay, I got to admit, it feels a bit hollow and cheap because we were guessing, but this has the same tactic that we were talking about earlier of where we pushed the king this way, except we were doing it with two rooks, and now we have a bishop here. So can we just go like this? And isn't that just mate? Rook g6, rook here. I just move, and who cares? I don't see how that's stopping me. Okay, we know that these are all illegal. So here is still a check. And then we... Oh, if I go here, and then king goes here, and I go check, and the rook comes back. Check and mate. Got it. Hell yeah. 31-14. Wow, that's barely harder than the last one. 31-14. 31-14, everybody. Amazing. I am happy with that. I gotta know, King F8 though, what's the problem? Let's take a look. Okay. Oh, okay, so check King H8. It's still a Rook G6. Okay, but Rook F8. How do we mate here? It says M3. I haven't looked at the move though. M3. We gotta, is it like, do I come around? It probably is. I probably do that, right? No? Okay, I gotta look. What is it? Bishop G8. Oh, cool. Everything holds everything. Held. And if you take it, that's crazy. That's funny. I did not see that way back here. The Bishop G8. I'm used to that kind of tactic when you take a pawn and move out of the way, but not when it's just sitting there. So what did I do? What did I come up with earlier? I came up with this move. So what's the defense here? I didn't even consider you could use the other rook. That's perfectly makes sense. I was looking at this, and then it is, hey, okay, credit to me. It is mate in 18 if you play the move I said, rook BB7. Hey, maybe I still got something. Definitely solved that puzzle. I didn't see it all the way through from H8, but the F8 one seemed to be easy. Actually, let me just show you what happens on that one. In case you didn't see it, I got excited and I just played it super quickly. I was like, well, if I go here, the rook blocks. And then the typical tactic I see is just here. And then we just take a rook. But I'm worried. The reason I didn't like that is because, well, I guess that's still winning. Okay, never mind. But anyway, I just saw this. This is much, much simpler. I saw mate in 2. I was hallucinating. I was forgetting that, I was thinking that this was just an exchange because of the earlier line where we lost a bishop. Okay. Anyway, that was a pretty cool calculation. I love that puzzle. I didn't see that bishop G8 move where everything protects everything and you can't take it. Very cool. Here's puzzle 58. Wow, we're already at 27 minutes on the clock here. And it's been more in real time because I paused it to think a bit. But we'll see if we can get a little bit farther with this one. I'm already happy with the amount of puzzles we've gotten right so far. So I think that we are probably just going to think this one through and pick a move. So the most obvious answer here is going to be check, and that would be mate, except for the fact that the rook can block. So we are even on material. So if we can just win a knight, we win the game. There's my king is safe, so and there's no pass. Well, there's a pass pawn, but it's not dangerous. So like we're still good with that. So let's go check, and then the rook blocks, and then we probably just want to stack up on it, right? How can we? How can we do that? What I would love to do is lift a rook and then go in. But that doesn't seem to work. Okay, check, rook block, rook here. Queen just takes that for free. Thank you very much. I can take this knight and I'm down in exchange, but no further progress to be made because this other rook becomes active. So that's not it. And remember, always be calculating. Moves are free when they're on the board. So just keep going. Here. Let's just pick something else. I tried rook here. It didn't work. What if we tried a different move like queen back? Let's just try queen here. It looks like that hangs it. Here, there. I don't have any good follow-up. That's awful. I just basically lose the rook, so that's bad. What if I take this? Check. This rook is forced almost. It could block. It could block, actually. And then here. Here is the most likely move. And then what if bishop here or something? Or bishop here? Then it's moving away from the king. The take here. This is silly. Doesn't seem to work. because the queen just moves. Check. It's got to be the right first move. Because the only move is rook blocking it. And then we have removed a defender of this. So this is now a target. But it can take a bishop. So I don't like that. So here, bishop, knight. I can take the knight, but then the rook is no longer pinned, so it takes my queen. What about that? Let's just say you take it. What have I? Nothing. Am I target locking? I don't want to target lock on the queen and think that the queen is the only thing I can move. So there must be other choices here. Is there a way I can distract the rook like up so that I can go check and it's mate? That would be pretty interesting. So that actually means that I could go check. What if here, and then I block with the bishop, only attempting to win a knight? I mean, it's kind of clever. Queen here, and then I'm just basically blocking the knight because, like, I think that that's actually kind of strong. Because the reason I say that is because the knight can't go here. It's controlled 3 times by black. So that's out. The knight can't go here because it's controlled by the bishop and the rook in that line. So rook would just take it. And so it would be lost. And so the knight can't come here. Oh, it can come here. No, because the bishop controls it. So let's talk about that knight. So we're looking at here, here, and here. And what led me to that is the fact that the rook holds the knight, but then once the rook is here, it doesn't hold the knight. So check here, and now and then bishop blocks. So then where can the knight go? It can't go here, it can't go here, it can't go here, and it can't go here, or here, or here. So the only place left is right on this square. Does it even have to move at all? Yeah, it's threatened one time and can't be protected at all. That seems reasonable. So what happens when the knight goes back? Then this square hangs, right? Can I drop a rook in? Yes, I can. And then this is attacked. And then the queen has to guard it. But it can't because there's a bishop here. Oh man, I think this is it. The only thing that drew this to my eye is this is a target 1 and 1. So I just figure, how can I attack it? I can also play this though. But the problem is it doesn't hold this square. So here, knight, rook up, attacking this rook. And then the queen would have to guard that because it's also a threatened mate. So here, and that doesn't work because I just take it with my queen. Rook, other rook, take it, it's checkmate because there's a bishop here. Look at that. Look at that mess. Look at that mess. I think I have it. And of course, the computer won't let me play any of that because the line I showed you ends in checkmate, whereas my original threat was just win a knight. So it's going to be like, you're cool, take my knight, you win. Whereas the more fun line leads to a mate with like the queen can't guard anything and such. And oh man, that is cool. I have to show you that in the analysis board. Even if I get this wrong, I'm ready to move. We got 58 right. We're in the 3100s. I think I just won a knight. And if he doesn't let me have the knight, I think I win the game with checkmate. So ready? Are you ready? I'm ready. I feel at peace with this decision. If this is a red X, that's the hill to die on. Here we go. Yes. Are you ready? I'm so nervous because this is such a clever, sneaky, tricky move. Oh, it is. And they gave me the knight. Yes. Let's go. I always make fun of people for saying that. Where are we going? Like, we're already there. I already went. It already happened. We're there. We don't have to go anywhere. We're already there. I got to show you the analysis here, though, guys. This was so fantastic of a clever, tricky thing. Notice how the bishop controls these two squares. You're like, who cares? That's dumb. What if the knight tries to go away? And this is what I saw. Okay, how do I see this? First, the thing I do is I think about the farthest away pieces, which is these guys. And then I think, what are the targets? And it's here because he's he's hanging on by a thread. It's 1-1. If I could just take it, it's checkmate. Like if queen takes this that's mate if it's safe. So I just pile on the firepower. I don't look at the bishop because he's close. He's already attacking squares around a king. I look at the piece who isn't, and that's this rook. And so now he's in the attack. And do you see how now I have 3 attackers? Okay. Here's what I saw. This has to be defended and it's pinned. So the only option, I originally saw this and said, you can't do that. There's a bishop there. I'll just take you. And that's wonderful for me. This is what I didn't notice. I was like, okay, that seems like a defense. And then I realized it isn't because watch this. It's a queen sacrifice. And the beauty of it is this. And then finally, the coup de grace is that the bishop controls that. That's checkmate, baby. That is going in the thumbnail, people. That was a fantastic one. And of course, does the computer let me do that? No, it just lets me take a knight. Everybody sits there going, well, why do I hang a knight? I'm like, because I'm mating you. That was fantastic. I had a lot of fun doing that one. We're on to the next one, 59. I don't care how long this video goes. Forget it. I'm having fun with you. I hope you're having fun. Stick around. Okay. Ironically, this one seems to be easier on account of the fact that if we get checked, we can kind of get checked for a long time. So it looks like the first move is going to be a check. And so you'd think it'd be like this or this. The other idea, and the only other idea I can really see is that the king should go up the board. And then if we are checked, I block it. So there's that. But then the rook can just take that and we're back where we started. Okay, so I do see a threat for white. I know we're black, but for white, I see rook. And you would think this would be like G1. It's not. It's B8 on account of the fact that we're black. So I don't know why we're both castled queenside. So check. Up. Sorry. Up first, then check. If we block with the rook, take. King takes. And actually, this queen doesn't necessarily go to B8 and go to C8. And it's protected by this rook. And so now we're like really, in danger because at worst, white can just check, 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 check. So for instance, if here, then the rook can come in check, and then the king has to go here, and then the queen goes here check, and then the king has to go there, and then we get checked again, and so forth. And so there's a real danger there. So it's not going to be king up or something like that, covering with the rook. So what that means is there's no way to run away from this check. And so we need to figure out a method by which we can distract the king. And isn't it just going to be this check here? So check, and then the king here, and then this rook check, and then king there. And then probably, is it going to be queen back, or do I check here first? Either way, I think it's going to be this check because it's the only check that doesn't throw away the queen. And gosh, it sure does look like I need to keep a queen. I think we're almost ready to play that, actually. It's going to be like finding the mate at the end of this. That's going to be the problem. And so here comes the rook blocking the way. If I go here, the rook blocks. That's the obvious way to do this. And then I can almost get myself mated. Yay. What I would love to do is teleport the pawn here. Right? So let's just say here, I go for what would be an eventual mate. The king gets in trouble. Check. Okay, the only legal move, just because this is pinned, it still controls the file. So after that pin, the king goes here. And then we have the queen check. And if anything blocks, we lose it. We just lose that. Like, for instance, rook blocks, queen just takes it, and actually it's checkmate next move. All right, not that one, this one. So let me do that again. Queen, rook, pawn, rook, king, queen, black rook, queen, king, queen, checkmate for white, which is the bad guys. We're black. We want to checkmate the white king, right? Yes. Can we sacrifice a queen for rook? Can we go like queen, rook, and we just take it and be like, haha, I'm a genius. I've done something. Take. I don't see that check, right? I don't see why that would be working at all. And then typically, because this rook is blocked, we want to use it, put it on the active line check. King goes back. Again, I don't see anything there. So can we go like a check or something? And if the king takes the check here, and then the king goes back, and then we don't have any way to get access to him anymore. Okay, the other option is here, block, and we stack on that piece. And then check, and then here, and then queen goes here, and we hide. And then there's no more checks. Yes, there is a check. It's right here. Let's try that. Let's try check rook, this rook to c6. Rook checks me. I can maybe even go this way. Okay, what if I go here? Oh, I can't. Queen will check me, and I move. If we play this rook here after the pin, it'll be rook check, king, queen, king, and then the queen actually just takes the rook because it is still, in fact, attacked by this rook or guarded by the rook. So then we would actually be losing there. So that's not good. So we don't go there. We go here instead. And then the rook would be forced to check. No, we already did this. Queen. Oh, queen can't because there's a rook there now. Queen, rook, 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 king. I don't actually have to go here. I can go here. Maybe. Nah, here, rook, here, queen. And then I don't have any good response. Okay, I do. Queen, rook, rook, king, rook, other rook blocks. And now I don't see any checks from... Yeah, I don't see any checks. The queen can check here. No, there's a queen there. The queen can check from here. No, there's a rook here. And the queen can't check here because there's a pawn in the way. I like this. I like that it's like this and I hide and there's just no checks. That's so clever. Okay, but then hang on, we're not done. Because rook can take and then I take back. And then what? The queen can check me right here. I go here and it takes my rook. Ugh. It can't. It can't take me because I'm already right here. Yeah, so the king was here. Rook check. I block with this rook. Take, take. There's no checks. There's no checks. You can go like here, right? But then I just skedaddle and it's fine. And you don't have anything because I have a rook here, remember? So that's actually fine. I think we have it. I think it's this rook using this rook as a shield. It is. And now here's the trick. We go like here. And then we... Oh, okay. Okay. He didn't... Yeah. What I was saying was if rook check, we block with this. And then if the trade doesn't matter, long story short, the queen doesn't have enough checks. She's not close enough and not protected enough to come in here because there's too many rooks around. And the king is a really good defender of his own self. He controls the squares around him, don't forget. So now we have to figure out which rook do I take? It's probably queen takes rook, right? How can that be? How can that be a bad problem? Ooh, that's actually more complicated than I anticipated. Because once the king goes here, Like this queen is threatening stuff too, right? No. If we take a rook, we lose our own rook. So we don't do that. We just take this rook. Yeah. Okay. 3,200, baby. With that 60 puzzles. 60 puzzles, and it looks like this one is just going to be check here, check with the rook. King moves, and we take here. What's difficult about that? 60 puzzles. Should we ruin our run by not thinking this through? We're at 45 minutes. I think we're going to continue this a little bit more. I mean, this is an obvious win of a rook. Like, this is a junior level tactic. So what's the problem? There must be more complication than this. So obviously the king doesn't go here because when the queen takes the rook, it's check. So instead, the king goes here. But here's a simple heuristic for you. Figure out, so when the queen is here and the rook is here, something has to take our prize, our rook, right? The simplest thing you can do is figure out what needs to guard the king. Does it need to be a queen on this diagonal, or does it need to be a rook on the back rank? I think let's play the move and then make that decision. Uh-huh. Yeah. And now we have to be critical. And the other thing I was looking at was pawn check. We can do even better, though, maybe with this check. Because either way, we win the rook. So that's really the question here. How do we take the rook? And we have 3 ways to do it. We have queen takes, we have rook takes, and we also have queen check and then take rook. And the difference is the queen controls this diagonal to the white king, providing him shelter on the diagonal, whereas the rook provides shelter on the rank. Now, I would think if we took with the queen, this queen would go here, check, or even here. Either way, we go here. And then can we even escape the checks? We can't. Queen here. Check, here, check, here, check, here, check. And the only legal move is king goes back. So it must be rook takes. But there's another answer here, and that is this check. So if rook takes, does the queen go here? Check. I want to stay on the diagonal, so we go here. But then the queen checks here, and I go up, and the queen checks here, or maybe even here, and I go up and check here, or something like that. No, I go here, here. I see. Here, 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 back to this square. Why? Because if the queen comes and blocks, that loses the queen to check, right? And then, oh no, the king goes here. Okay, well, what do we have other than this? If we have play queen check, king over, we don't have this like I would wish. We do, and that's winning. That's winning. Because we take with check. Check, here, here. Queen takes, king takes, or pawn takes. The king is in check, king goes back. If pawn takes this, we could have taken this and been up a rook. Oh, boy. That's tough. What's the answer here? Is it queen here or is it rook takes? We know it's not queen takes because of the perpetual check. So it's not that. Hydrate. Important for chess. Now, why is it that we can't just throw in this check? I realize it doesn't feel like that means anything, but this is a puzzle, which means there's only one move that wins. So, like that pawn push could be important because it clears a file or something for the rook. So, like here, here. No, that seems just like a here, here, and then I take the rook with check. Well, that's powerful. That is powerful. That's a powerful idea. Pawn push here. Can't be done. I win. Pawn push and take it. Or just pawn push and ignore it, and that doesn't seem like much. Because then here, check. And suddenly the king's coming back, and I haven't gained anything. And so like here, 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 here. I guess I could take the rook, check, and then here. Gosh, this is confusing. 4 different good moves. Well, 3, since we know queen takes is not it. I suppose we just have to figure out if the rook takes, what happens. If rook takes, it's check, king, check, king. Is it then check here or something? Here, here. Oh, this is so complicated. I don't see how the king runs out of checks here. It does certainly feel like I need to bring my queen closer. This just intuitively feels right because it guards this, and it blocks on here, and I can come back to the diagonal. Check, king, rook takes, queen takes, king, queen. I block. You go here. I go here. You go back again? I go here. Check. You take my rook. I don't like any of this. So that was again queen, king. If the queen is there, this is blocked. It just feels so silly and super and artificial. The general idea is that you keep your pieces protected and connected, and you don't start using them to like zoom around the board. Like I don't this it feels intuitive because the queen is in the center of the board, but it doesn't feel intuitive in the sense that it now nothing is protected. The queen is hanging and the rook is hanging. That would really force my hand. Okay, let's try it again. Queen, king, take the rook. Check, only move. Check, only move. Well, I could bring the queen back, but I think we determined that doesn't work. And then there's no more checks? There aren't any more checks. Oh, there's the check again on the diagonal. I guess I come up the board. And then there's a check here, and I go up here. And then you're really starting to run out of checks there. Because you can't go here, because there's a queen there. And that really shields the king very well. Oh, there's this. Uh-huh. No, even that should be okay. Because if king goes up to this square and gets checked like on this diagonal, right? And the king goes up and the queen comes over to here, checking a king that is here, then this square is okay for the king. Because this check does nothing because the queen interposes. This could get very complicated, and I'm not sure what to do. I'm about ready to guess. So let's just try. Okay, I think this is okay. I think queen here is okay. I don't see a problem with it. But what if rook takes this? Then can we figure out what the problem is? Is it check here, check here? Takes my pawn. Because this check is denied, right? Because of the rook. And then king here. And then is it check again or something? I don't know why that's a problem. Can I just run away? I mean, how can you win everything? It doesn't seem to. A rook is a rook. It should be fine. Okay. Huh. I'm worried that there's a way to win the rook here. I want to play this queen check. I just don't see anything for either side here. So we're running long on time. I think I need to coin flip this one. This could be the end of the puzzle run. We're at 60. That's a 3,200 puzzle. On principle, which one is better? Probably the one that doesn't hang a rook to a fork or something. But I still don't see how that's even possible. So I'm going to pause here for a second, think this over, and then make my decision. I'm coin flipping this one. Okay, I've made my decision. It's going to be queen to e4 for the reason that I want to deny this check. Here's what's shown on the board is a way that I can get myself checkmated. Rook takes, queen check, hang up, check again, and then we can go back and forth. Or I can bring the queen back and block, but then there's this check. And then if the queen goes here, oh man, I think that might have been it, actually. I changed my mind again. Okay, here, 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 here. And then I saw somehow I could win this pawn. It would be like check here. Yeah, that's it. Check here, here. And if king here, check here, checkmate. So that's bad. So what I want to do is deny this square from the queen by using my own. I feel like this rook is safe on account of the fact that this diagonal will be blocked by the pawn. This diagonal will be blocked by the king. And then you can't come into a rook straight on. It'll just take you. So I do feel like I'm going to play this and I'm going to pray. I really don't know. This is in fact a coin flip. I feel like this is just better on account of the fact that I win a rook. Here we go. Oh, yes. Okay, win a rook. Okay, we got to look at that one, guys. We got to look at that one, and then we're going to call it a night. I can't believe I am still in this game. I wasn't intending for this one to be this difficult. I have no idea what's happening here. Yeah, we saw all this. We knew that. But why? Okay, we know. Here's what I was saying before. This is perpetual check. I think everybody kind of knows this. You can't really get out of this. I saw this very quickly. I explained this. So we know that. Okay, but why can't I go rook takes? I don't actually know what the answer is. Okay, so this actually is not important at all. Okay, I thought it was. It is this. Oh, this loses the game. The queen g2, which we knew. But I was actually thinking this, queen g2. I was thinking this would be okay. And then here's what I was saying before. And this loses the rook. I said this loses the rook. Now I see that that's not true. And it's because of this is a cross check. This is called cross checking. It's answering the check with a check. So that's how you end a queen versus queen endgame is you cross check. Which is why, everybody, a very important lesson is that you actually walk your king toward the opponent's king so that when it comes time to block with your queen, there's like higher chances of it being check against the black king. For example, this. Okay. Remember, if the white queen were in the corner, that's harder, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to check. So, okay, but why? How does black actually hold the draw? It's not. Apparently, it's not that way. I mean, this is just so hard. I don't. Right here. Okay, but I got to this point and I got confused and I couldn't calculate anymore. We did look at this. I couldn't figure out. Yeah, I saw this too. Now I went here. And remember earlier when I said, oh, you can do this? And there's no chance of like a skewer or anything? Like this. But like, how's that? F5, of course. Okay. Queen F2, let's say king goes here. It is queen G3 check. And if here. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just a whole bunch of just checks. You can't get out of checks. So this, I was correct in choosing the right principal move. I didn't know why. All I said was that this queen move. Really, the main reason was this, and then the fact that this is the only legal move. And when I took with the rook, the importance is that you can't come into the rook anyway. So that told me protecting my rook is not as important. What I want to do is get closer to my own king and guard my f pawn, and then always have this chance of this like check. So to end any perpetual checks against the white king. So my rook is safe where it is. That's why I finally chose that one. I still wasn't sure. I'm still not sure. I guess the computer tells me that I can't get out of checks, but okay, I'm forced to believe it. So that was a lot of fun. It was a 3293 puzzle. I think we're going to be looking at a 3300 puzzle fairly soon. This was fantastic. 61. I've never done that before. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun. I'm glad you were here. And I guess I'm going to be seeing you for episode 6. I don't know. Take care.